What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to take a look at Carnage. And oh my, guys, this uniform looks absolutely insane. I mean, look at the detail in this thing. Look at his stab, the symbiote wrapping there. Look at the tentacles and the detail on his tentacles. I mean, he looks crazy. He really looks amazing. I love this thing. Wow. I mean, people would just buy this uniform for the aesthetics alone, guys. Just for the aesthetics alone, they would probably buy this uniform. And you guys can take a look at my stats. You know, he's got 37,000 physical attack. He's got pretty much max stats. I am running a CTP of Rage on him because I believe that's definitely what's going to be optimal for him, because he has a couple delayed hit skills, right? Before you can cancel him, he has to land a hit on 2 different skills to get the residual damage from them. And I really think it's going to be best to play him in that way. I mean, I think he could be proc. You could play with a proc, but it might be a little tricky because I think he's probably going to start the proc early. Now, his critical rate is a little bit, it's at 70%, it's not at 75, and his dodge is at 62%, so I could gain a little bit of damage if his dodge was at 75%. But this is just kind of a brief overview of how strong Carnage actually is. And I do have Urus on this character, guys. I do have 5-star Urus on him. Right, I do have 70% physical attack and 22% pierce on my account. I can just change a few of these Urus and put some dodge Urus on so I can increase that dodge. And a lot of the things they did for the character, I really would have thought would have made more of a difference than what I'm actually seeing. So they gave him the 100% chance to increase accumulated pure damage, which is, the Shirag Doom effect, which is OP. But you'll find that his tier 3 seems kind of underwhelming. He doesn't really seem to be doing that much damage, especially compared to, characters like Doom and Shirag. The damage just doesn't seem to be as good when he lands his tier 3. And actually, guys, whenever I cancel the tier 3 and go into my 5th skill, I seem to be doing a lot more damage doing it that way. So yeah, that was kind of disappointing for me, right? And then his passive, this decreased damage received by 40% is really a godsend for this uniform. This might be a big reason why people would buy this uniform in itself, because he's going to have more survivability. I mean, being tankier is going to be a big bonus for Carnage, because in his previous uniform, he lacked survivability big time. And then his 1, nothing big there. The 2, nothing big there, right? And then the 3. The 3 gives him accumulation based on damage he takes. Now, something I said in my previous video is that hopefully on his damaging proc skill, he'll be upfront and personal with the boss. And he is. He actually procs on his 5th skill, and he isn't in an iframe. He can actually take damage, which is actually a really good thing when you have this kind of accumulation. So that's actually really good. His kit seems pretty good for it. And, and again, if you were playing with a proc, maybe 3, 4, delay, land, jump down, land down, then go into the 5th skill, you would take damage. It might be all right, to play with a proc, but again, I'm just going to be using a rage. He does get a heal, but this heal is he's just going to be dropping a bunch of blobs all over the place, and you got to pick them up, which kind of sucks. I don't like the whole pick up blob thing. It is the right thing, I guess, for Carnage and the symbiotes, but I like it better when they just get an automatic heal. So that is kind of a little bit of a criticism I do have. And then the 4th skill does have, the 90% chance to penetrate everything, which is just nuts, guys. He's got the 5 seconds of immunity. He's got the critical rate buff, so we don't even need as much critical rate as what we have. And then he's got a nice little attack buff as well. And then his 5th skill also gives him increased basic damage by 80% for 1 attack. And you want to proc on this skill. Is there something I'm missing here? Oh yeah, so something I didn't mention a second ago is he does have ignore iframe on the 3rd skill, which is really, really sweet. I wonder though if this skill is going to do enough damage in PvP to be relevant, guys. Right? I do wonder, if it is going to be good in PvP, because I don't know how much damage this thing is actually going to be doing, in all honesty. But it is nice that he has the accumulation based on the damage he takes on the skill. So we'll have to see how it plays out. So far, I've just done some PvE testing, and then his passive here, the critical damage increase, the guaranteed critical rate is nice. Tier 4, we can talk about another time. And his leadership is definitely for PvP. Now, when it comes to playing with Carnage, I mean, guys, like I said, I mean, whenever you play with, first let's just take a look at his skills. So his 3rd skill is pretty cool, but notice he doesn't get a heal. You have to pick up the blobs to get the heal, which kind of sucks. But at least the blobs aren't super spread out. They're fairly close to him. And you will be running around a little bit. They will be out there for a while, but so it might not really be a big deal. The 1, Nothing really major there. That's just going to be a cancel skill. And then the 2. 2 does a little bit of damage, but not really much. Doesn't do a whole lot of hits, right? And then you got the 4 where you got to slam down, and then you can actually cancel skill when you slam down. And that thing does a lot of hits. So you do the 4, slam down, and then you can go into another skill, right? But you got to make sure you slam down. You can't cancel it early. And then his 5th skill, right? And this is the skill where he's got his damage proc by 80%, and he's going to be up close and personal to the boss. And that's actually really good with that accumulation based on how much damage you take. So literally, guys, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going 2, 1, 3, kind of let it hit, boom, 4, and then the 5, right? And I might change around my rotations, right? I'll do that a couple times. And then what I'll try to do is I'll try to hit the tier 3, right? When I have my accumulation up, shoot the beams down, right? Or shoot the symbiotes down, and then go into the 5th skill. And I seem to be doing the most damage that way, right? But that's another reason why a proc's going to be tricky with him, because I really feel like he's going to do the most damage whenever you do your tier 3. You shoot the symbiotes down, the symbiote rain, and then go into your 5th skill afterwards so you can get that damage proc along with the tier 3 accumulation all at once. It just seems like he does more damage that way. He does have a fully awakened power of Angry Hawk set. He doesn't have an artifact. And his artifact will be a godsend for this character, especially for PvP, because it does give him the undead passive. And that honestly, like, I think without the artifact, he's probably not going to be the greatest in PvP. I mean, I don't really know, guys. I have no idea. That's just kind of what I'm guessing. But with the artifact, it's going to be a different world. Having the undead passive is very, very powerful. It could allow him to actually build up his tier 4. And if he builds up that thing, then, yeah, I mean, it could be pretty potent, guys. It's going to have a lot more damage, more survivability when that thing pops off. Be pretty insane. And then he does have the CTP of Rage. His uniform is just a normal, and this is kind of a caveat to the character. You can farm for bios in the story mode, but it's very random. It's very difficult to get them. So a lot of players might end up buying like a mega rank up uniform ticket for him, which costs about 40 American dollars. Whether or not it's going to be worth that, I don't really know. I'm still kind of playing with this, seeing whether or not he will be worth it. I'm already using Hawk as a combat villain for ABL and AVX. But, I mean, Carnage might end up being a meta for those game modes. So let me show you guys, how much damage he's actually doing. And by the way, it sucks my potential wasn't ready yet. By the way, another thing, he doesn't have any ignore dodge in his kit. He has no ignore dodge whatsoever. Now, I'm going to be using this particular team for a reason. I did use Scream in another video where I used White Fox's support. And for today, I'll actually show you guys, with this here, right? But first, let's pop in Carnage, and I'll show you what Carnage can do. Now, because we don't have any ignore dodge, I have 2 ignore dodge strikers. Actually, I think one more ignore dodge striker would actually be a little bit more beneficial. So at least that way you'd have 60% ignore dodge. He is only at level 7D. So let me see if I can find another ignore dodge striker here for him. Give me a second, guys. Okay, so here we go. We'll slap in one more. 60% ignore dodge. Ought to be enough. Now, remember, I am playing on my emulator, guys, so, hopefully this doesn't lag too much. But I'm just going to go 2, 1, 3, delay, let him do his hit. He wants the tentacles to come out from that 3rd skill, and then I'm going to go into the 4, 5. All right? And you will find, guys, like, that his survivability really is a lot better than what it was before. But his damage just doesn't really seem to be the greatest, and there is a lot of RNG as far as the damage. I mean, there's a lot of RNG as far as how much damage he actually does. There we go. And there our proc got off. And that's kind of a thing about Carnage, is that... And there we got caught. And... I mean, and maybe, maybe I could play him a little bit better. I almost think sometimes that's almost better just to cancel that 3rd skill like I just did. I mean, and there, guys, you saw some pretty good damage, right? That was some pretty damn good damage right there. All right? And there we go, right? Now, he did this in about a minute. And maybe I could do it a little bit faster. Maybe I could do it a little bit faster than what I did, right? It's not perfect, right? But it wasn't too bad. Proc got off, and that's kind of what happens with CTBs of Rage. I almost think, let me try something, guys. Let me try something. Let me try just canceling that 3rd skill, because a lot of times that 3rd skill, the way that I'm playing, is setting off the proc early. Now, I just started playing with Carnage, so I'm still trying to work out a rotation for him. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you really want to get that tier 3 up as much as possible because of the accumulation on that thing. But I'm just going to try to hit. There we go. Okay. And now we're going to kind of. And there we go. Do the tier 3. Shoot down, go into the 5th skill. I mean, I think that there looked a little bit more promising than what we just did a second ago. So we just literally did 2 cages here. And do the tier 3 and shoot down. And so we did it a little bit faster that time, a little bit faster, right? And I was just canceling the 3rd skill that time. So it might be better just to cancel the 3rd skill and not even try to use that thing, right? Because our proc was more consistent there. So we did that in about 4 minutes. And maybe I could have done this in about 50 or 4 minutes and 1 minute. And maybe I could have done this in about 50 seconds, right? Remember, he's got Urus on him. He's got a CTP of Rage on him, right? Now, let me show you guys what happens whenever I put Scream there, right? So we'll take him out. We'll slap in Scream. My Scream is built like crap, guys. I still haven't put hardly any investment in her, right? We'll just use the exact same strikers, okay? Now watch this, okay? And this is going to put things in perspective for you guys as far as how strong Carnage actually is at level 70, okay? Perfect. We landed our proc. And I mean, Scream's just a monstrous character, a free-to-play, 100% free-to-play character, okay? And super easy to play, super proc-friendly, right? Nice, nice, nice. We're keeping that proc where it belongs, which is good. Let's get out of here. Try to avoid the cage if at all possible, okay? Nice, nice, nice. There's that proc. Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And booyah. Now there you guys, check that out, right? The same supports, right? The exact same supports in pretty much about the same amount of time. Now let me show you how my Scream is built, okay? And like I said, this really will put things in perspective for you guys. Let me find my combat here. Superhero. Okay. It's funny that she's a superhero. But anyways, look at my build. 140% proc, guys. 140% proc. No Urus. Legendary uniform, right? So that's one advantage she does have over Carnage. She has a legendary uniform instead of a normal rank uniform. But Carnage has a Rage. She has this. Carnage has Urus. She has this. So what they've done with Carnage, guys, is pretty much the same thing that they've done with a lot of our tier 4 characters. They give them a uniform that is better, right? Not all of them. I mean, there's some definitely had a much bigger improvement than what Carnage is actually getting, but it's a good improvement. It's definitely a uniform that's going to be a must-buy if you want to make Carnage the best he can be, but it's nothing overpowered. It's nothing insane. It's nothing ridiculous. It's a good uniform, but really his relevance is when he's going to go up to level 72, when he's going to have his tier 4. That's what it is. It's going to be the same old thing that we've seen over and over and over with many of our tier 4 characters. They just don't seem to shine very much at level 70. They're like, man, they're okay. But once you get to that level 72, then their damage just skyrockets. But, I mean, right now, guys, I mean, just from this early testing, I would probably hold off and wait a little bit, let some other YouTubers maybe tier 4 him, or at least maybe see what happens whenever his potential is increased, to see how much damage he does before you actually decide to go out and buy this. Unless you're a Carnage fan, you want to queue it up. I mean, it's definitely worth picking up if you want to make Carnage the best that he can be. And he might end up being an ABX meta, and he might end up being really, really good for PvP, especially if you have the artifact. And that's kind of the caveat, man, if you have the artifact. So guys, Let me know what you think about Carnage, and I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GT+7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See everybody.